Um, hey everybody, welcome to the Hoosier Shooting Academy podcast, Rise Above. We have one of my really good friends, I usually say Coach Vance, but Vance Catlin. He is with the Pacers. I met Vance probably about 7 years ago in Vegas, and we've just had this friendship that's been nurtured, and I've had an opportunity to work with your daughter and just become a really good friend. And what we're going to talk about today is obviously his experience as a professional and what he's seen in the professional realm, but also I want to dig into your taking those goggles and the hat of being a professional in what you've done, but also making it applicable to your daughter and what you look for in the development, and obviously what you would want to change in the system, not necessarily attacking your daughter, but attacking the system. But with that being said, Vance, I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself. I know a little bit about you, but I know you were Michigan State on the girls' side, and that's kind of where you got your jump. But I mean, tell us about who you are. I know you're a Houston fan. I know every time the Yankees play Houston, I have to stop myself from sending some kind of like, hey, how about them Yankees? And I'm like, no, we're not at that level. But yeah, tell us about yourself.
First of all, thanks for having me, Paul.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Appreciate everything. My name is Vance Catlin. Born and raised in Chicago. I'm an Illinois State alum, and I got my first start in basketball with the women's program at Illinois State. I was a student manager there. From there, I was able to earn an internship with the Pacers, where I broke down all the film for the.
Were you ever at Michigan State?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I was like, oh, geez.
So I did all the filming stuff for the Pacers coaching staff during my internship. They didn't have a job available the year after I finished, so they helped me get a job at Michigan State, where I did that broke down video for their women's program. And then the Pacers hired me back the following year, and it was a dual job where I was the assistant video coordinator for the Pacers, but the head video coordinator for the Fever. And then from there, just kind of gradually worked my way up to head video coordinator, then scouting, and then now I'm in charge of the pro scouting with the Pacers.
And it's funny because every time I say your name around any kind of the circles, I know I've said this to you, but people are like, that's the hardest working guy in the gym. And it's interesting because you kind of pay attention at Summer League, and I see kind of other teams, they got video guys coming and going, but without a shadow of a doubt, I always see that. I know exactly where you're going to be sitting, and I know when I can say hi to you, I know when I can't, and so it's just one of those, I figure that out. So if you don't mind me talking about it, tell me about your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter, Cameron Catlin, she's a sophomore at Hamilton Southeastern High School. She started playing ball, when she was in third grade, and it's been a pleasure and honor to kind of watch her, grow through the years, work with her through the years, and hit up several different people that she's worked with. She's worked with you, she's worked with Nick Daniels with M14. She's been a part of the IGB AAU program since third grade, and hoping for a successful high school season this year.
So, knowing what you know, and I'm sure you've seen amazing workouts with the pros and everything you've seen, what is something that you would say, and I'm not picking on any programs, I'm just picking on a system, what would you say the difference is between when you step away from your office and you see a high-level pacer workout and then you saw her in third grade? Like, did you notice anything that like, hey, I love the fact that the girls program touched on this, and this, or I think that development was lacking this, and this? Does that make sense?
Yeah. First of all, there's different stages of your development. So, early development, I want to see, perfecting the form of your shot. I want to see, just basic offensive and defensive fundamentals, just spacing, stance, ball handling. Like for me, like that's what should be emphasized with youth. And then obviously as you can put more on the palette, your skill level develops and you can add more to the plate. But developing the fundamentals is what's going to get you from point A to point B, when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and again, shifting gears a little bit, but still staying as you, and I wanted to put your dad hat on, which I know is a little personal to talk about publicly, but if you're okay, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to force your daughter to play? Like, who's the one that initiated that relationship with the game of basketball?
My daughter did. She took an interest to it, and I'm one of those, parents that, hey, if you're gonna do it, we're gonna be all in. So, like she was the one that showed interest in me, and it was my duty to kind of give her all the knowledge, all the things she needs to hear, from all the experiences that I've had. That's the only, that's the right thing to do, and we've been, 2 feet in, since third grade.
But you also, she's not your only daughter.
Right.
But did you notice, when did the other one not fall in love with it?
It was kind of right away.
Right away.
She's the one we had to force to kind of do camps and all the intro kind of stuff, and she wanted to go into the arts, and we fully support that too.
And there's nothing wrong with that, though. And again, for the record, I'm raising 4 kids of my own that you just met. And so I'm kind of picking your brain as a dad and we talk about it all the time in my house of like, well, are we forcing Anderson into this? Are we doing this? We're like, whatever he loves to do, he's going to love to do. Is that kind of how it happened in your house too?
Yeah. Now, like we support whatever they want to do and whatever they have a passion in. Because ultimately, like if you're going to work that much harder, for what you have a passion into, and as a parent, we're going to fully support whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Is there ever a moment where you had to pull your daughter back and be like, hey, you're doing too much, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation? And what did it look like? Like, not necessarily what was the situation, but what were the red flags and how did you handle that?
You know what? Like we kind of monitor everything as it goes. I would say maybe like with just the load of the games and practices. If I feel that it's too much, then she'll take the day off from working out with me. Because if I feel that she's doing too much with the training and all that, because I want her to be fresh for practices and games. Which ultimately, like, that's where you're gonna showcase your work.
And I understand my son better than anybody else. You understand your daughter better than anybody else. What are some of the red flags that parents should be looking at when you're starting to when are the warning lights starting to come on of like, hey, I'm hitting burnout? Like, what does your daughter do?
I would say, you just since your child, like you just have a feel for it. When to like pump the gas up. When to take it off. If they had a difficult game, like you got to pick them up. I just feel like it's no set rules. You just have to have a good feel of like knowing how to cater to what's happening at that point in time.
No, that makes, and you just said something very powerful there, and I really want parents or anybody that's listening to really write this down and take notes of when they have a bad game, what do?
You gotta lift them up.
And the problem is when a lot of people hear they get a bad game, what do you hear happens?
Yeah, they get on them, and it could make them feel worse about because they already feel bad. You don't want to pile on, when it's already bad.
So it's funny because I'm going multiple different directions in my head on this. When players first come in here and they start shooting on the Dr. Dish, a lot of times that's the first time they've ever been tracked, and they don't really know their true shooting percentage. You shoot in the driveway and you could shoot for 30 minutes, come back, man, that felt good. But was it really good or did it feel good? There's a difference. And so a lot of times that people, they come in here and they're like, I'm only shooting 26%. Like, whoa. But that's a bad day. But then the other thing I see is parents pile on. You not only shot 26%, you didn't hold your follow through, you're out of shape, you did this, you did that. And I'm looking at the parents like, why would he want to come back? Why would she want to come back if they know that they just opened the door to get talked to by you? Right. And so for me, it's one of those, it's funny as a parent you say that, because I know for me as a dad, when they're having a bad day, and it's hard. It is hard as a parent because you want to fix everything. What do you do when you find yourself hitting fix-it mode? And like, how do you get out of it? Like, do you double down? Do you apologize? Do you just stop talking?
No, I mean, like for me, I always go back to the work and the process, because as long as the work is there and the technique of the process is there, like you eventually will get out of whatever rut that you have. Like that's kind of how those are the methods I choose to solve the problem.
Okay. What are you stealing from work to apply to the development?
I still just kind of like multiple, doing multiple where you have to make a read and then you have to relocate. I emphasize like the pace and the crispness of it. And just playing quick and like not a lot of rest in between the reps, and making sure these reps are game speed.
What happens is, how long do you guys usually train for?
45, 45 minutes to an hour.
45 minutes? Has there ever been time it went less than 45 minutes, and why?
Maybe less when she was younger, but now she's gotten older, like it's for sure 45 to an hour.
45 to an hour?
Yeah.
And you guys are both locked in?
Yeah, and I do the work. I do the workout with my daughter.
Well, yeah, because you're super in shape. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, whatever she does, I'm doing.
I think it's powerful that you said that, because for me, this is my pet peeve as a training coach and doing what I do, is I warm up a 2-ball dribbling, and everyone's like, well, it's easy for that guy. And I'm like, here's the thing, I've been doing this for 20 years. I should be, if I'm not good after 20 years, I shouldn't be doing it. Mm-hmm. And I always want to challenge the parents. There's one mom, she was jumping her son's case, and I know the family really well. I have glasses that just black out your vision. And she was making fun of her son, like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm like, hey, come here, stop it. I'm like, come here, put the glasses on. And she put the glasses on. I just gave her a simple bounce pass, and she freaked out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so why, let's calm down on criticizing your son, because what they're doing is hard. What your daughter's doing is hard, but I think it speaks volumes that you're in there doing it with her. Mm-hmm. What kind of connection does that build, and why?
It just strengthens the connection. With my job, I travel a lot, and and that's our bond. Like, that's our one thing we can do together, and it's fun to see her embrace the teaching and embrace the work, and we're trying to help her live out her dreams.
Do you do a film session with your daughter?
Yes. I've been breaking down film for her since 3rd grade. Like I'll show her some positives, and then I'll show her some things that she needs to improve on.
So, how long are the films? Like, are they hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, minutes, seconds? Like, how long is the film typically?
I would say like 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll put on the full game, and we'll go possession by possession. If it's separately, I'll go through the game on my own, and then like build up. Maybe a minute or two of just footage that she can just play on her own while I'm at work or something like that.
How much of it is positive and how much of it is negative? Is it 50-50?
I would say it's like 70% positive, 30 negative.
Is that much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I think you want to reinforce both, but like you don't need to like dwell. A lot of times the mistakes are similar, or those concepts are similar. You don't need to dwell on that. A couple of examples can kind of get your point across.
What kind of things do you hone in on that film session with her?
It's really, so offensively, it's playing quick, it's shot selection, it's taking care of the ball, it's reading situations where you had a chance to be aggressive. It's attacking, not only to score, but to set up your opponent. And then defensively, it's your stance, it's your awareness, and then it's your like overall, hand activity level. It's your foot speed, kind of activity level, and your overall motor and energy that you're showing out there, your body language, all that.
That's, for the record, that's a pro answer right there. That is, I expected to be like a quick little blurb, yeah. And the detail you gave it, you gave the glimpse of the world a glimpse of your development mind, and I loved it, because I'm like, ooh, I better write all this down. I'm definitely going back and recording that and be like, okay, take notes on this. No, and this is where I realized as a coach, but when I was younger in my coaching career, it was 100% bad. I went through and I showed everybody, Tommy, you were out of position. John, you were doing this. Chris, this is a bad pass. And it was just a bloodbath of me just ripping players and I realized there's a time and a place for that. Like, I have a couple teams I'm running now, and the first film session is literally just me. I challenge the work ethic. Mm-hmm. You're jogging. This guy beat you up the ball at the court. You can't do that. But I also realized that like you do need some positivity in there. And the one thing I love that you're hearing is your relationship with your daughter, with your it's not just a bloodbath of you just being like, hey, these are 15 things you did wrong, but this is 75%. That's a high number. That's higher than I expected, in a good way. I'm a little taken back by, in a good way of like, man, 75. But you're also now after you watch the film and you dissect all that. What are the next steps after watching the film?
Then we're done. Then we wash it and then we get back to work the next day.
So, what is the translation though? Like, are you taking those situations and then bringing them to the court and saying, "Hey, these are the 15 things"?
We'll work on some of the things that we need to work out at the next workout. But for the most part, once that game is over, I flush it. I'll have it archived, on my iPad and stuff like that if I need to refer back to it. But I flush it because it's time to get ready for the next game.
Without getting you in trouble, okay? Mm-hmm. Are you using some of the NBA technology stuff on that, or is that your own different platform that you brought on?
I use my own different platform. It's called I forget what it's called. Yeah, it's called OnForm.
OnForm?
Yes, OnForm. It's a video coaching, tool that I use, and it's I like the interface, and it's pretty easy to use.
That's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. And you can direct her from your iPad when you show it to her.
Yeah, I can clip it. I can archive. I can create a URL, so like I can just send it to her. I'll send the clips to all of our family. Like we're all watching her clips after every game.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. And your wife is on. Your wife watches it too.
Yeah, everyone's all in. Everyone's all in.
It's awesome. Is there anybody in your family that kind of checks out? Like I can see if my kids ever. I hope my kids don't listen to this in the future. I love the arts. I don't know if I would ever. I would absolutely love anything my kids do. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I would like if my wife sent me a clip of like, hey, you hit this wrong tone, you hit this pitch, this needs to be different. Yeah. Look at the tempo. I'm like, I'm not watching that. Like, your wife doesn't do that to you. Like, no, come on, Vance. Like, calm yourself.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't. She lets me, do my job, and that's about it.
Is your wife a basketball head?
Yeah, she likes ball. She likes ball.
But does she love it or does she like it?
Yeah, I would say she likes it a lot.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because someone like you sent me clips before.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, what are your opinions? And you get like a whole page breakdown of like, these are 5 things I would have done differently, and then you're like, yeah, Paul, I was just showing off. I didn't need all that. But I didn't know if your wife was like my wife. If I sent that video to my like, hey, look at all the highlights, my wife would be like, I ain't watching that, Paul. I was at the game. So that's beautiful. That's awesome. And so, how much of your drive comes from her goals? Like, who set the goal? Obviously, she wants to play at college, and is that her that set that goal, or is that you that set that goal?
No, it's her that set that goal, and it needs to come from her. Like, as much as I want it to happen, she has to put the work in, and it's my job to help her try to achieve those goals. Using all the methods and tools and all the everything I've learned through the years, and and that's what I try to do. I try to do that to the best of my ability.
So, putting some other different hats on, you have your dad hat, and now shifting it though. I know in your profession you've seen someone that just doesn't want it. Like I've seen it on my court, and at your level where this is a job. What are those red flags looking like when you see those?
It's the ones you got to motivate. You got to pull teeth just to even wake up to get to the workout. It's their motor and their enthusiasm throughout the workout. If you're always got to use all your energy to like pump them up and get anything out of them, over time, like you can be dealing with coaches or staffs that run out of that kind. They don't have the patience to do all that. Like they got so much other stuff to worry about. So like. Yeah, and you know it right away. You can see it right away.
And that's not to say you can't have a bad day. There's a difference between a bad day and a pattern.
Right.
In the pro level, when you see someone had a bad day, do you have a conversation with them? Do they know they had a bad day? Do you just like what's that system look like in the pros?
And in the pros, like it'll be similar. They'll show them film of what they need to correct at that time, and if it's over a period of time. There's a wake-up call delivered, and it's usually through, lack of playing time, and if there's a lack of playing time for a long period of time, then that guy will eventually not be a part of your program.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know it's interesting. You and I've had conversations on the side about like, hey, how do you do this with your job? How you do that with your job? Like, and one of the things that you said that hit home with me, and it kind of stuck to me as a professional coach of like, Paul, you only got one time to lie to me. Yeah, like if you lie to me, if you acknowledge that, and again, there's not knowing. Like I could say someone did this and they could have something behind the background. Like I didn't know about that, Vance. Like that's fine, but like if I knowingly sell you a player that isn't what I said, you're like, I mean, I have a conversation with how's your family, how's your kids, how's your daughter, okay, and then when hey, I got a player, like that's fine. Like, and do you find that same mannerism as a player of like, hey, you know, clearly the playing time's not burning, that's not motivating you, that wake up call is not hitting home, like it's probably like, do those people come back? Are they done? Do you have like a no pacer rule?
Yeah, I mean, like you'll give them one or two opportunities, but like you know, if they fool you twice, like you're not gonna be around for the third time for them to fool you, because in the professional sports, like our livelihoods depend on that, so we're gonna be picking and selecting people that we want in the foxhole with us.
Yeah, I was working out with a core group of kids, and these kids all had NBA potential. Like it wasn't like it was a third grade team. They were really highly ranked high school kids, and I just couldn't get to them, and they were just goofing around. So one day they came in, and on the board I had LeBron, I had Bronny, I had Curry, I had Luka, and I had all these names. And the kids, I just was struggling to reach them. I've kicked them out of the gym 3 times at this point, and they came back a 4th time. I'm like, man, why y'all coming back? Like, you guys are giving me a headache. And they looked at, oh, we're gonna do the Luka, we're gonna do the Curry, oh, we're gonna do this. And I'm like, no, guys, that's the job that you're gonna steal in 5 years. And if you think that LeBron is gonna roll over and just give you his paycheck, you're wrong. If you think Luka, you're gonna step on the court with Luka in 5 years, and you're gonna take his job, you're wrong. And only 2 of those kids came back from that group the very next day. Wow. But their attitudes changed because you're right. It is a professionalism. You're not just doing this for fun and hobby. Like, if you make a bad mistake 3 times, you are not in your position anymore, right, which is now affecting your family, your livelihood, and a person as a man. That's
100%.
And a lot of parents don't understand the severity of it. Of like, if you flip out in a 5th grade game, nobody really cares. But if you flip out in an NBA level with millions of people watching you, someone's getting fired.
Right.
And if it happens 3 times, you're the one getting fired. So it's definitely a business, and I don't think a lot of parents understand that. What advice, and I know I have a lot of parents that listen to this that say, oh, little 5'9" Timmy is going to the NBA. And I try to be realistic with them, but like, what advice would you give a parent that has, in their opinion, an NBA potential?
I would say, like your work ethic, and your work ethic needs to reflect the type of goals that you're after, and don't be worried about NBA, 3rd through 5th grade, 6th grade, all that. Like you gotta stack your body of work, you gotta stack production, and ultimately, make it to high school, make it to college, and then ultimately, like you'll know when you get close. But just fall in love with the work, and let that drive you.
Working at the collegiate level that you did, what were some things that you saw in recruits? How much of a say-so did you have in the recruiting process in college?
I had 0.
0?
Yeah.
You didn't break it out in any high school film?
I mean, like, you broke down film and stuff like that, but I was so young in my journey that I didn't have any like say on the final process.
But you did have a say on the process, though.
Slightly.
I mean, but it's still something.
Yeah.
What is something that you would see from a player that would be like, this kid is not our material here? Like, she's just not going to fit. What were those?
I would say like the ability to play with others,
So relationships.
Your relationships. I would say like just style of play, whether they're erratic or turnover prone. Shot selection. Like their motor is awesome on offense, but their motor is like half the motor is on defense. Like things of that nature, and just like consistency versus a lot of variance.
You give such the most professional answers, and I love it. I love it. You, like, I know there's a bunch of parents and kids that listen to this, but if you're a professional, like, you just say all the right things, like, because you got the motor. And a lot of kids, and it's not just an offensive motor, It has to be a defensive motor too. It has to be diving on the ground. It just can't be a motor for things that you love.
Right.
It's got to be a motor for the things you don't love.
Right.
And who gets excited to take a charge?
Right.
Not a lot of people do.
Right.
Who gets excited to do all the grunt work? But also that relationship piece of, and I know you see it, and I'm sure that's especially magnified at the professional level. I know a lot of great trainers, but sometimes they're not very friendly to hang out with. And you're probably hanging out with more people on your staff than you are your family. And you have to look at that like, is this really somebody I want to spend 40 hours in a foxhole with? Probably not. Right. So you have to have that ability to get along with people. And so everything you just said right there, like the relationship piece, I would assume slouch shoulders, pouting, probably got you the film cut back. We're done.
No doubt. You know, the body language stuff is real.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I remember as a young coach, everything was film work, and I always went through the film, but like all the coaches tell me, you got to go show up to the game. You got to watch them live. Because there's things in the film that really don't translate, and then you see them in real life, and you're like, oh, they do pout a lot. They do get upset. They are frustrated a lot. So, yeah. And so what were some of the things that you saw on film that you would say, hey, you know what, this is somebody that we want to push to the head coach and offer them a scholarship?
Yeah, I would say, you know, the right positive body language, playing the right way, you know, passing up a good shot for a great shot, taking care of all your assignments defensively. You're always rotating on time. You're always running the floor in transition. Offensively, you're crashing. You know, if you're in the wings or the corners, you're just consistently showing that extra effort. Not only when you're up, say you're up 15 or 20, but like when you're down 15 or 20, you're still showing that same winning type of motor and attitude. Because it's easy to play when you're winning, but like a lot of times you see more when things aren't going as well and you're losing.
You know the John Morant story.
Which one?
How he got recruited to Murray State?
A little bit, yeah.
So it was a coach just getting a bag of chips and it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I always try to tell people, like, you don't understand who's watching. And I don't know how much this would be true or not. You could be like, Paul, that would never happen. But like if you're watching your daughter play and then you kind of notice a game over there and there's a high level kid, you'd probably go peek over there. And if you saw that kid as a high level freshman in college over there, whatever it could be, he's pouting, sulking, throwing a fit, you kind of take notes. And then 3 years from now, you see that name again, like, hey, I don't have a good feeling about this kid. Like those little things matter.
Yep.
Those little relationship things matter. Like it's just a lot of people and kids are willing to burn bridges and they don't understand the significance of, you don't know who I know. You don't know who you know. So like they might even recognize that you're in the gym. You're probably not going to wear, hey, I'm a Pacer staff guy to watch your daughter. You're probably wearing your daughter's shirt and repping your daughter. So does that make sense?
No doubt.
And is there any, without saying names, are there any stories that you've picked up on through your career where that happened, where some kid acted a fool in the gym and they didn't know you were there, and then?
Honestly, like I just have my eyes are zeroed in on my daughter. So like people can come to me for help and I'll help them, but otherwise I'm really just locked in on how I can help my daughter, to be honest.
That locked in?
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and I struggle with that as a dad because I'm watching my son play soccer this week and I'm like, there's 500 other things on my mind. And I got to put my phone down. I'm like, no, I'm here, man. What are some of the cardinal sins that you would offer to a mom or a dad of like, these are things you don't do? Oh, time out real quick. There's something else. I'm going to backtrack. Mm-hmm. If anybody was listening and paying attention, the one thing you didn't say that I didn't hear you say, and I was waiting for you to say it, how many points they scored. Mm-hmm. That never came up. Mm-hmm. When I said all the things and you went through your list, I was listening. I'm like, how many times is he going to say they have to score a lot of points? Mm-hmm. You didn't say that.
Right.
Because a lot of times that doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't really matter. If scoring is the number one thing and then everything you listed, high motor, crash in the corners, defensive effort, body language is all here, you're not going to get that scholarship. You're not going to get that next look. However, if all this is here and you can still score the bucket, then that's something they want. And I think a lot of times high school parents, they get it flipped where, oh, my kids, how many times you see a kid run to the score sheet? Like, how many did I get today? Like, you don't care. Like, did you get them all off bad shots? I'm not impressed. Or did you get them all off assist? How many assists did you have? So, yeah, I just noticed that. That was the one thing I was listening for. I'm like, okay, if you say points scored, then my whole argument is washed right now. And then, so what are some of the red flags you would put on a young parent, first time coming through? Let's say, I mean, 99% of the world doesn't have access to the basketball knowledge that you and I have. I don't have access to 99% of the basketball knowledge you have as a person. So what little tidbits would you leave a parent with when, you know, hey, don't cross this line. This is a battle worth fighting. What battles are you fighting? What battles are you not fighting, and why?
You know, first is the battle of you know, it's their dream, and like they have to want it. You know, like I have seen a lot of parents, they want it more than, you know, their son or daughter, and that can't be the case. It's got to be the other way around. And yes, there's varying degrees of, you know, basketball knowledge and stuff like that, but you know, you got to try to put them in place with the people, you know, people that you trust, people that do know the game, and go, you know, then you can kind of derive off of their opinion. But the bigger thing is like you know, not burning any bridges, you know, your body language and how you treat people, how you listen to the details, and not making mental mistakes, and you know, and just always coming with a consistent, you know, motor, and being in the best shape that you can be in.
And being in best shape probably has a good diet with that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, would you say that's probably 99% of the athletic killers right there, is having a bad diet?
No, 100%.
It's that you can't, I tell people, you can't put mud in a Lamborghini and expect it to go. You need that motor to go, and if you put trash in it, then trash is going to come out.
And also rest. You know, you got to get your rest.
You do got to get your rest. A lot of people, yeah, I wish I would have known that when I was younger, because I think rest was, for me, I was just always on the go. Even as an adult, I'm on the go, and I'm like, my wife looks at me like, you might want to calm down a little bit. My wife is the one that has to tell me to rest. You've said a lot of good things, by the way. A lot of good things. I got one more question for you, okay? Mm-hmm. You wake up tomorrow. You're the commissioner of American basketball. You could pass all around the world. What rule would you pass for American basketball, and why? Would it be at the youth level? Would it be at the collegiate, high school, pro level? Or would it be one rule that passes all the way down, and why would you make that rule?
For me, I would do just one universal three-point line.
Ooh.
You know, just to kind of keep it consistent. You know, you see so many different lines. Like, you go on the court, there's like 4 or 5 different lines. Like, just give me one line and just keep it simple.
I like that. That's a good one. What about little kids? Is that still a 3?
Yeah, I mean, like, just like a home run for youth, like, it's got to be a certain amount of feet to clear. So I would go with that 3-point line.
Now, at what age would you start counting threes?
I would say 5th, 6th grade.
5th, 6th grade?
Yeah.
And then everything else is 2?
Right.
Vance, I love it, man. Hey, thank you so much for coming, man. You did a great job.